we're going to see where John the Baptist was. This is where he would have lived, in the Judean wilderness. And we're going to see the site where most likely Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist in the wilderness.
This is the buffer zone that we're driving through, so that's why you have those signs that says minefield, see, on the left and right. All those, this is lots of churches, lots of Greek Orthodox churches, because this is important for the Greek Orthodox. They always would come here, even when it was closed, it was military area. They had a regiment to the army would open the buffer zone and drive them with the army. Now it's organized, there's a road and everything, but they would come here, it would be hard to get here. They arranged that today is a baptismal site, so when we go, no need for the whispers or anything, we just go there, to the fence there. When you go there, you're going to be standing on the bank of the Jordan River.
I feel like this is kind of the landscape that you picture whenever you think of the Bible. Just really dry, desert-looking atmosphere. And of course, this has all been turned into it. And some religions place high value on being baptized right here. Of course, we were in another section of the Jordan, but
this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made.
And when the Hebrew children left Egypt, there were approximately 2.5 million who came out. I said it was 600,000 men who came over. Of course, then you have women and children. That whole generation died off in the wilderness. Only Joshua and Joshua and Caleb were able to cross over. So there wasn't, many who crossed over. Could have been 1 million easy. But think of that. 1 million people crossing over and then making their way to Gilgal, which is the base camp, as they began the conquest of Canaan.
we're about to take a cable car up here. What is this again?
This is Massada. This is where, this was in the period right around 70 AD after the destruction of Jerusalem. Just before the Romans and Jews had their basically last battle. The Roman zealots, Jewish zealots, who came out, and this is Herod's palace. It was kind of his home away from home, Jerusalem. And the Romans were trying to defeat the Jews. These were men, women, and children. And there were 15,000 Roman soldiers. Before they got to the camp, as they were making their way, just getting ready to get into the camp, that the Jews killed people, committed suicide, and they, except for one person who escaped and told the story about what happened.
What about David? Talk about David. Isn't that where he hid?
David hid in Gedi, which is just before we got.
Just before we got here. Okay.
It's an oasis here near the Dead Sea.
Okay, so we'll see that later. Yeah. So we're about to take a cable car up there.
basically two enemies. One of his enemies was Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt. And Cleopatra always wanted to control this side of Herod's kingdom because it's close to Egypt, south, and it was a very, very rich area. And so Cleopatra, Herod was best friend with Mark Antony. Mark Antony was Herod's sponsor when he became a king, and then Mark Antony and Cleopatra got involved, and Cleopatra told Mark Antony, you know, if you like me, maybe you want to take Herod's kingdom and give it to me. And Mark Antony thought, you know, best friend Cleopatra. He took the south part of Herod's kingdom and gave it to Cleopatra. And Herod didn't like that. And then there was this big battle where Mark Antony died in battle, Cleopatra killed herself, and now the Caesar is Augustus. And Herod traveled to Rome, spoke to Caesar, became Caesar's best friend, got back his land, more privileges and everything. But then he thought, what if something like this happens again, and I need a place, safe place to stay, me and my family, when something might happen, a place that will be totally easy to protect, hard to get to, and self-independent, where you can put everything I need, and we can stay there for a long period. Guys, a place that will have food and water and ammunition and supply, and a place that if you need to go to Rome and secure your kingdom, at least your family can stay here for a couple of years and nobody is going to be endangering them. The other enemy that Herod had were the Jews, because as you know, Jews never liked Herod. So he was thought, what if they rebel against me? I need a place to go. So when you want to build a safe place, a hiding place, what do you expect? A place to be easy to protect, hard to get to, big enough so you can have, you know, few places to stay, food, water, supply, whatever. But when you think like Herod thought like a Roman architect. He built a whole city. It's part of what we spoke about so many times, that Romans built exactly the same everywhere, Herod's included. The only difference is, usually Romans would decorate the bathhouses with mosaics of Roman mythology, or animals or people or whatever. Herod was manipulating between Romans and Jews, and to show the Jews that he's a good, kosher Jewish king, he created his own style of Herodian mosaics, only with geometrical shapes. So much that whenever you dig something that's Roman here with geometrical shape mosaic, that's Herodian. And so that's the only difference. Otherwise, the bathhouse would look exactly the same. Beit She'an, we saw a bathhouse exactly the same. People would come to the bathhouse a couple of times a day. Every day they would come to the bathhouse. Everybody would come to the bathhouse. Why would come to the bathhouse here if it's so hot outside and you want to go inside and sweat? Not because it's cleaning or relaxing, because this is the center of life. This is the center of town. If you're not here, you're not part of town. This is where you get the news, the gossip, business, everything that goes in town. You have to be here. Here they would do gymnastics, they would have wrestling competitions, they would have masseuses and barbers and doctors and poets and all sorts of things. That's like the social part of the country club of being. They would also have a massage here. They would put olive oil on the body, cover the body with olive oil. Then they would go into a cold room, kind of like relax a little bit. Hot room, sweat a bit more. Steam room, wet sauna. Sweat and adjust your body temperature from cold to hot. Again, cooler to relax, cooler to kind of like slow down. Swimming pool, they would come outside. They would put another rub of essential oils and kind of like smelly, beautiful water baths.
This is all original from the bathhouse.
Of the bathhouse. And that takes us into the semi-hot room.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? For what it is.
You kind of adjust your body temperature. Now, what do you need in order to create steam? In a steam room, in a wet sauna, what do you need?
Water.
You need heat and water, right? So, there's a floor. On top of the floor, there's ceramic pillars, you see? Ceramic pillars carry the second floor. On top of the second floor, there's white plaster, which makes it waterproof, right? So now you have an empty space between the two floors. Outside, you would burn burning materials. The hot air and smoke would come underneath the floors, will make the upper floor hot. You bring water from the external source, I'll show you outside, put it on the floor, you create steam, right? Come inside. This steam will be caught in tubes that you have here, ceramic pillars that you have here in the wall between two layers of white plaster. The steam will go up because the ceiling is cooler than the floor, the steam will become water. And because the roof is round and not flat, the water won't drip on your head, but it will drip back to the floor, become steam, go back again, become water, and you have sort of a closed system of steam water. If you could use this place as a dry sauna, you could use this place as a wet sauna, you could increase the heat, you could increase the water.
Here's the top of Massada. It's originally Herod's fortress that he never ended up using. But then the more famous story is of the Jewish zealots who chose to die with honor and freedom before the Romans captured them. Over there are the Roman cannonballs. I don't know if you can see them. Right there. It's really incredible.
All those pieces look like they could fall. In case you have an earthquake or a tectonic movement, the landscape is changing again. It does happen. Pieces fall. But that's why it's a nature reserve and they close it when they think something is running.
This is where it's believed that David hid from King Saul when he was fleeing. And I don't know if you can see through there. There are natural caves. And there's also that fresh water source that I just videoed, the waterfall. So it makes sense that David would have stopped here, probably next to a fresh water source and where he was hidden in the caves.
Good spot. Divided into 4 groups. Historical scrolls like the ones that actually gives us all the information about these scenes. Those are scrolls they wrote about the daily life, what did they do, how did they, what's the philosophy, what they believe in, what's the practicing of everyday life and the baptism and all those kind of things. They were poetic scrolls, sort of like Psalms-like. They even found here.
So we are at the Dead Sea, and you'll notice my hat. We went to Massada today, so it was very hot. And Miss Pam and I didn't feel so led to do the Dead Sea float.
No.
We're just going to be enthusiastic supporters, right?
And photographers.
And photographers. Oh, look who it is, Miss Vicky again.
Oh, it is.
We always end up in the vlog together. You didn't feel led to swim today?
I feel like no.
Yeah, me neither. It's okay.
I'm not a water person.
I get it. I get it. So off we go. We're going to watch Kurt and some of the other people float in the Dead Sea. I don't know if you can see that. But this is kind of called like a beach area. So we're going to go watch them float away. There's no living life in the Dead Sea at all because it's too salty. Didn't you say it was like 30-something% salt? 32% salt? 35? Yeah. So very, very salty. But you can get this view. Pretty cool. Here we are. I'm gonna see if I can find What happened?
He lost his, he got him, he found him, but he got in there.
Lost his shoe. So it looks like Will is sampling the famous Dead Sea mud, you know, for his beauty regime. So is Kurt now. People are just floating around. Oh my gosh. The famous beauty treatment right here. Looks like Will is the most vain of us all. Here's Kurt. Kurt! Get Will, y'all wave. That's exactly why I am not in there right now. Classic. Notice that real cute handprint right there. Only Kurt. Okay, so now I believe the boys are gonna attempt to float.
I want to maximize my time in the shower.
That's right.
Way to go, Rick.
I have not got one picture, so get out there. I haven't got any pictures. Get that youthful look, Loretta. That youthful
Linwood
look.
floating, Linwood floating. Fantastic. There's Will floating.
Yeah, I don't know where. He was with Jonathan. Jonathan said he's better.
There they all are floating. See Kurt and Will floating away.